So today I want to talk a little bit about my observations as a previous manifestation coach, the reason why manifestation sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, and what I observed as a pattern, and my personal view on it. So, like I said in my previous video, I spent some time doing manifestational coaching, and I'm still a coach, but just not a manifestation coach. And as I was helping different people, there were like certain observations, certain things that I could see working for one person and the same thing not working for another. And obviously, people are different people. But I think that something that is very much kind of not seen in this realm of spiritual modalities, is that it might be spiritual, but that doesn't mean that there is no structure or logic behind the way things work. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the word logic because sometimes I feel like, reasoning and logic kind of try to defy things that happen in a spiritual realm. But what I mean with logic is the idea that anybody can just manifest from their standpoint, and that there's an equal footing for everyone. So I always love the analogy of like going to a hairdresser, right? And showing a picture to the hairdresser of like, hey, this is the hairstyle that I want. If your hair is this short and you want the hairstyle down your back, there will be other measures taken, and there's another way. And if you want your natural hair to be down your back, right, like you can also add extensions. There's always different ways, but I'm talking about like if you want to go from this to this, it's a longer route if your hair is starting from here versus if your hair is starting from here, right? And that's the same way you have to think about manifestation and doing inner work. Your baseline matters for where you want to go. Where you're starting matters for where you want to go. So if you are starting with a palette that has been deprived, let's say, you have to understand that there are certain things, certain measures that you need to take to kind of like clean up your starting point. So let me connect that back to what I saw, what my personal observations were for the people who it did work with, or it had a stronger outcome with, versus the people who had a harder time maintaining their manifestations. And so I'm not even saying that when you are starting from a different baseline that you're not able to get there at all. It's also about the maintenance, right? Like if you one day get what you want, but the next day lose it, that's kind of not the point. So, what I observed, as I said, is that their baseline was different. And what I mean with baseline when it comes to manifestation in particular, the amount of trauma that a person had endured in this lifetime and was different. So, like, if you've had a lot of trauma, you should kind of like equate it to the idea that you're starting from a shorter hair point, wanting to go down here. And so I always made it a point to address that. I always made it a point to clean that up. And what I often saw in the manifestational world is that people would comment and say, your starting point doesn't matter, and it's a limiting belief if you say that it matters. But there's also bypassing. Like I said, there's a logic and a structure to everything, and it also applies to anything in the spiritual realm and modalities in the spiritual realm. And so if you're saying, if you believe that your starting point matters, it's a limiting belief, you're actually bypassing your very real experience. Now, what I also saw is that when you have certain traumas, like how I envision it is your manifestation will come to fruition, right? If you keep doing inner conversations, if you do things that push the manifestation to come to fruition, it will probably happen. There's a big likelihood that if you keep at it, it will happen. But what I saw is that it's the energy that the impression that is left on your subconscious, or the energy that is coming through, will sift through your traumas. So it will sift through the cracks of your traumas and find an output. So let's say you are manifesting your ideal soulmate, right? And you have a lot of trauma, and this trauma has imprinted on your energetic field that people are not safe. What you will notice is that that outpush will reflect in some way, shape, or form that belief of not being fully safe, and it will also be shown in the mirror reflection of that person that you attracted, that you called in. So it might not literally be that they're trying to kill you, but there will be certain levels of maybe emotional unsafety that they will reflect back to you, or certain things that they do that make you feel unsafe. So the impression that is needed to manifest, it will sift through your energetic system, and it will create an outpush that is still a reflection of what your energetic landscape looks like. And so that's why, sometimes when you do get it, when you do get the thing that you're wanting, when it is manifested, and in your energetic landscape, you have the impression of like good things don't last, like relationships always fall apart. That's where you have like your energetic landscape has no choice but to express and reflect that back to you. And so that's what I mean with when there's trauma, when there's when your baseline and your starting point matters, and when there's trauma in there, it will push out certain things that you might not want. And that's the reason, one of the number one reasons why I see manifestations not working for a certain person or not lasting for a certain person. And whatever your personal belief is about that, that's up to you. This is just what I have observed and what I want to share. And what else? So with that being said, what I have seen work. So my approach was always to address the trauma that is there, address the trauma that I'm observing, and healing it. Now, you might say that the practices that you are doing when you're trying to manifest are healing practices, and I would not completely disagree with that. But what I have seen a lot of the times, and what I think people don't understand, that there are different categories when it comes to healing modalities. And with, for instance, doing meditations, what you are essentially doing is trying to overwrite the story that is imprinted in your energetic field. So you're trying to overwrite what has been written before, right? You're trying to write a new story, basically. But what that often fails to do, so like that means that you're trying to substitute the old story for the new story. And you should imagine that maybe, let me think what a good analogy is when it comes to that. So let's say you're going through your life, right? And your old story was one where you always fell down the stairs. And you managed to rewrite your story, and now you can easily walk down the stairs without falling down. That doesn't mean that all the times you fell down before that you don't have like injuries and marks left from those times that you fell down before. So the fact that you've rewritten that means that in the future, like for the days to come, you might not fall down, but the pains of you falling down before might still be there. You might have broken a leg. You might have, sustained heavy injury from falling down. By just rewriting, that won't heal the injury. And so the modality, or like the things that address rewriting a script, or help you kind of like switch up the story, they only heal to a certain extent. They don't heal the damage that has already been done. They often just heal the future, like the things to come. And they heal the story in your head. And the story that lives in your head is your head, but you still have your entire body, including your energetic body. And that's where I feel like other modalities come in that are able to release the imprint. And these don't have to always be spiritual modalities. I've seen, like, I work with a specific modality called Compassion Key, which I see that does that. It takes out the root imprint, and it somatically releases, and it also releases like any trace of that story. So that's one. And I have also seen that EMDR, which is not like a spiritual, it's used in by different psychologists. That also works that way, depending on how it's used, but it has the potential to do that. So being aware of these different modalities and how they work and when you have to use what is very important as well if you're doing inner work, manifestation work, and maybe not seeing results. You have to kind of like ask yourself the question, what am I using, and is this what I'm needing at the moment? Is this the tool for me, for where I am and what I am trying to do, and where I am, basically. So I'm kind of just telling you the things that are coming up to me randomly, and I hope that it kind of like makes sense. But that is what I wanted to share. If you have any questions about this, because I have a lot to say about this, but I'm just like sharing what comes up from the top of my head. But if you have any questions, if you want to know more, please comment down below, and I'm happy to answer these questions. And if there's anything else that you want to share, and if you like this video, be sure to like it, and also feel free to comment. And it also helps spread this video to anybody else who might find it useful. I think that was it for me for today. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you the next time. Bye.